So, as you guys know, the FNAF chapter is finally coming into Dead by Daylight as of next week. At the time I'm recording this video, it's coming out on the 17th of June. And it made me realize of how many good chapters the devs can actually implement into Dead by Daylight. So here are my top 5 best choices for chapters that the devs could implement in the game. Starting off, we got the Last of Us chapter. Now in this chapter, the devs could give us Ellie and Tommy as the survivors, or they could give us Joe and Ellie, followed by obviously a Salt Lake City map. However, there could be multiple different map choices here for this chapter, so it's realistically up to the devs on which map they decide. As for the killer, we are bound to get the Rat King as the killer itself. There's a lot of infected choices that the devs could actually go for, but I don't feel like they will have the same hit as the Rat King. As for Ellie and Tommy, or Ellie and Joel, either they could do the same thing as they did with Stranger Things and give us both of them at the same time in one chapter, or they could give us one of them and give us the other one as a skin. Both are actually pretty nice options, just really depends on how the devs could do it. However, giving them both as separate survivors, I think would be a much better alternative for this chapter. As for the Rat King's power, I feel like what he could do is, obviously it has to do something with infected, so I guess he could combine a little bit of demo and plague here into this. He could infect the survivors whenever he wants, and he could also, I guess, put them into a separate reality where I guess the survivors could get infected if they stay in that reality for a long period of time. And they can also make it so that he can teleport to certain areas in that reality. I think that would be a very nice, a solid chapter the devs could give us. Next chapter we got is Chainsaw Man. Similar to what they did with Tokyo Ghoul when we got King Kaneki as the killer, I feel like here they could give us the Gun Devil as the killer, and for the survivors could either have Denshi, Power, or even Makima for the survivors. I think a lot of people would quite enjoy that. However, I don't think that we're gonna give us 3 survivors in one chapter. The devs have never done that, at most it's 2. So I think they were gonna give us 1 survivor and probably the rest as outfits, which could be a nice alternative, but either way works for me. As for the Gun Devil, his power definitely needs to do something with guns, obviously. I think his power, as shown in the anime, 1 bullet can cause massive destruction. So what the devs could do is they could make it similar to Deathslinger, but instead of a harpoon, he fires an actual bullet. And when he fires the bullet will cause massive destruction. And if the survivor as well is within the bullet's range, they will either be put into mending state or they will just be put into down state, depending if they were already injured or not. So right there's also a very nice chapter they could add. However, I have talked to some of the broadcasters here in Dead by Daylight. Some of them agree with me, this is a very nice chapter. However, some of them disagreed, saying that they should limit how much anime they put into the game, which, to be honest, I see the reasoning, but at the same time would be a very nice chapter. I don't mind the devs adding anime to the game at all. Next chapter we got the It chapter. Obviously for this chapter, who else to have other than Pennywise himself? Pennywise, I feel like his power definitely would need to do something balloon related. I feel like it would fit him the most. I think his power would do is he could place balloons all around the map and he can teleport to them wherever he wants. And if the survivor gets close to a balloon, I guess he can pop the balloon and then Pennywise can re-add the balloon if he wants to, or he can just re-add the balloon in a different place. Kind of similar to Hag here with her traps, so all around not a bad idea. We could also be able to get a sewers themed map with this chapter, since Pennywise does technically live in a sewers. There are already a lot of concepts for Pennywise coming into Dead by Daylight, as I'm showing you here right now in this clip. This is what the sewers map could potentially look like. Honestly, in my opinion, it looks pretty good, to be honest. Didn't expect it to look quite nice. And obviously as well, that's how Pennywise could look. However, I feel like they could do a little bit more with the model. I feel like the devs could make him a little bit scarier. So that would be up to them if they decide to add this to the game. Next chapter, we got the Slender chapter. Obviously, in this chapter, as the name itself, we're gonna be getting Slender Man as the killer. Now, for this guy, there's a lot of alternatives to his power. You could do something with letter steam, you could do something with fogs, you could do a lot with this guy, but it's all what the devs decide. We could also be getting a nice forest themed map with this chapter as well. As I'm showing you right now in this clip, this is a concept map to what it could actually look like, and honestly it looks pretty nice to me. As for Slender Man's power, I have mentioned that there are a lot of alternatives with this guy. But for me personally, I feel like what they could do is his power could put survivors into like a diseased mental state where their vision would be very limited, everything would be foggy to them, but they would still be able to see like generators and stuff like that. And Slender Man would be able to teleport to their most recent, I guess, to the furthest vision that they could see. That would be quite a nice power to add. But as I said, they could go in so many directions with this killer. So who knows, we will see if they ever add Slender Man to the game. Last but not least, I think is the chapter that's possibly long awaited for before Five Nights at Freddy's. We got Friday the 13th. Now as well, the devs are limited to, I guess, licensing and stuff like that, so they can't really implement this in the game just on a random note. But obviously if they ever add this, we're gonna be getting Jason as the killer. Who else would we get? And most likely we'll be getting Crystal Lake as the map. Now for this chapter, I've also talked to the broadcasters about this, and they were like, honestly, if they add this to the game, it's going to cause havoc. Some people are gonna like it, some people are gonna hate it. A lot of Friday the 13th fans are going to jump in Dead by Daylight just to play as Jason, similar to what Five Nights at Freddy's fans did when Springtrap came into the PTB. A lot of people went to the PTB just to test them out, and hence why the servers were pretty bad that day. But all around, solid chapter here. Obviously for Jason's power, I think he would do something similar to what his power is in the Friday the 13th game. Maybe little tweaks here and there, but I think it would be pretty cool to see Jason in Dead by Daylight. Now with all of this said, the devs are very limited to, I guess, all the licensing, as I previously mentioned. For all of these chapters, we got Friday the 13th, Last of Us, Slender Man, It chapter, and even Chainsaw. All of them require the licensing. The devs just can't randomly put them in the game, else they would be causing a lot of trouble for themselves. But all around, these will be very cool chapters if the devs ever manage to get them in the game. What do you guys think? Are these chapters good enough to add into Dead by Daylight? Are they not good enough? Should they require a little bit more tweaks? Tell me guys what you think in the comments below. But anyways, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good night, guys.